Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam,
Scurvy dervy dervy.
bim bam, bim 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 bam,
Bim 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 bam.
Shabbat Shalom,
Hey.
Shabbat Shalom,
Hey.
Shabbat,
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 Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom.
Shabbat,
Shabbat, Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom.
Shabbat, Shabbat,
Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat.
Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom,
Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom.
Shabbat, 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 Shalom.
So friends, we are about to go live with our Facebook feed, so if you'll take your seats. Hello, Carol in the back. Everybody, we're going to sing along. We are going to snap and clap and hum and celebrate this time that we are together. Dr. Gummer, lead us.
Shiru Adonai, Shiru Adonai, Kol Haaretz, Shiru Adonai, Shir Chadash. Do that again. Shiru Adonai, Kol Haaretz, Shiru Adonai, Shir Chadash. Sing unto God, all the earth, a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God, and we'll all sing along. All the earth, a new song unto God. Shiru Adonai, Kol Haaretz, Shiru Adonai, Shir Chadash. Shiru Adonai, Kol Haaretz, Shiru Adonai, Shir Chadash. I will sing unto God a new song.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. How's it feel to be in here? Yeah, feels good, right? Feels like coming home. Feels like it has been really, really missed for a year, more than a year. We've been in here, and the lights weren't up top before, and the cameras weren't small and sleek. This place was a television studio, and we were praying to a camera through bright lights for a year, more than a year. So it is really, really wonderful that we're here, both here in person, and of course, for those of you who are at home. You see how I'm looking up at the cameras, right? For those of you at home, welcome. Shabbat Shalom to everybody. And we want to especially, of course, thank our members, and most of you, if not all of you, are members here, for allowing this to happen. Members of Temple Emanu-El, you make this happen. So a couple introductions. Dr. Artie Gummer in the house. I'm Rabbi Spike Anderson. Take a moment or two or three and turn to the people next to you or around you, behind you, and say Shabbat Shalom. If you are online, go ahead and give a shout out. Let us know who you are and say Shabbat Shalom. As we are saying hi, just a word or two. If you have been vaccinated, we encourage you to choose to take off your mask or not. If you have not been vaccinated, we ask that you keep your mask on. Emergency exits. This is when I'm the stewardess. Emergency exit. This way behind you, this way, and this way in case you need them. Art, how'd I do? All right, I think you said well. This is an announcement we have not made too much in the last couple months, many months. If you have a cell phone, please silence it. If you have an Apple Watch, silence it. Let's make sure that we're not buzzing in the middle of services. Elsters, welcome. Psyched that you're here. Okay. If you are joining us online, the service has been pinned onto your Facebook page, and if you are here live, we're using our Mishkan Tefillah, and we'll be calling out the Mishkan Tefillah pages. Shout out to the Lichtstahl family for tomorrow's Banot Mitzvah. Mazel Tov to you. Mazel Tov to you and to all of us. And finally, Artie, bring us home with something that we can sing and hum and get into.
Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. Do that again. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. I will sing unto God a new song.
Okay, so I'll ask everybody put your feet on the floor just for a moment. And as we come into this sacred space, we're going to take a nice deep breath together. We let it out. A second breath connecting us to Jews all over Atlanta, bringing in Shabbat as we speak. Deep breath in and out. And our third breath connects us to Jews the world over, bringing Shabbat in their own unique way. Our breath mingles with theirs. Deep breath in. And together we let it out. Sherry Gummer, do you want to come on up? So friends, this is the first time we are having a congregant light candles, meaning not clergy, since COVID started. So this is a bit of a Shechianu moment. We won't say Shechianu because we'll do it later. But if you all rise, and folks who are at home, if you have your candlesticks out, you can open to page 120 in your Mishkan. Go ahead, Sherry. And as we light these Shabbat lights, we Jews symbolically bring light into a dark world, as we have been aspiring to do since time began as we know it. So we bring in the light and the warmth and all that delicious Shabbat love and get ready for our bracha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat. Amen. Now, if you would like to light your own Shabbat candles, if you look where Robert Wittenstein is, right outside those doors, the Shabbat candles are set up on the tables as we sing Light These Lights and Shalom Aleichem on page 142.
Oh, hear my prayer, I sing to you. Be gracious to the ones I love, and bless them with goodness and mercy and peace. Oh, hear my prayer to you. Let us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us say Amen. Let us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us say Amen. Let us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us say Amen. And let us say Amen. Shalom Aleichem,
Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Boachem
Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei.
Elyon.
Page 142. Mi Melech Malachei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bring it home. Seichem l'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You can have a seat. In a moment we'll sing L'Chad Odi on page 138. L'Chad Odi originates in Tzfat, that gorgeous mountain city in northern Israel. Of course, the Kabbalists, the Jewish mystics under Isaac Luria, once they settled after the Spanish Inquisition, that's how they got up there. They came up with this idea, or they transversed this idea, that the Jewish people and Shabbat were besheret. They were meant to be. And when they were together, we and Shabbat, we each recognized our own potential, two halves of the whole together. And so the L'Chad Odi prayer brings about the imagery of a groom eagerly awaiting his bride to walk down the aisle, in the same way that we Jews eagerly await the haven in time where we can breathe and appreciate, connect, and be. Page 138, L'Chad Odi.
L'Chad Odi, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. l'Chad Odi, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ותפארת ולתהילה. l'Chad Odi, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. l'Chad Odi, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם ניסוחה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. l'Chad Odi, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. l'Chad Odi, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
We rise and face the door.
בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ושחלה, תוך אמוני ים סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה,
לך דודי, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. We are warmed up. The Baruch is on page 146.
La 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 la
Na 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 na.
la 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 la
La la la la. Yam ba da da da. Lam ba da 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 da.
la 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 la
Ya da da da.
ya la 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 la. Baruch hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Here we go. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. HaMevorach, HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. As the moon starts to rise, the evening comes on, stars coming out, and we Jews begin to connect to the night to begin anew. Roll in the dark.
Roll into dark, roll into light,
Roll into light.
night becomes day,
Night becomes
day
day.
turns to night.
Day turns to night. Roll into dark. Roll into light. Night becomes day. Day turns to night. Borei
Yom
V'Layla.
Golel or mipnei choshen. Golel or mipnei choshen.
V'Choshen mipnei or. Here we go, everybody. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Shema, page 152.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam va'ed. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai
Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Please be seated. So in a moment, we'll chant the V'ahavta prayer on page 148 together. The V'ahavta prayer is part of the Shema, and it's many things. There's reasons for it. Primarily, it seems to be a prayer that reminds us that we have reminders, that we can be our best self, our most God-oriented self, our most ethical, highest self. And where do we put these reminders? We put them where we can see them. Primarily, this Shema and V'ahavta go into the mezuzah, right on your door. So that mezuzah is at eye level. And the rabbis, of course, have many things to say about the mezuzah and why it's at the angle it's at, and having to do with compromise and bringing your best self into the holiest place in Judaism, which is the home. But there's a more, I think, primal and relatable reason. Hal, what's your favorite sports team? The Bulldogs. So if you're wearing a Bulldogs jersey and you see somebody else wearing a Bulldogs jersey, go Dogs, right? There's a little connection. So by wearing an outward symbol of our affiliation, there's a sense of identity and pride. And at some level, that's what the mezuzah is. When you move into a home, a Jew moves into a home, the first thing you do is you put up a mezuzah. We're Jewish. We live here. We are here. We're part of this place. Of course, the last thing you're supposed to do when you leave your house, the last thing, is you take down the mezuzah and you take it with you. Unless, according to a tradition, there's Jews moving in, and then if you don't really like the mezuzah, you can leave it up and get another one. Anyway, the V'ahavta is a symbol of our self-identity, that we have one, that we're proud and we're part of this place and every place that we live. We contribute, we more than contribute, we lead. We lead like a beacon of light sometimes, and sometimes it's leadership by rolling up our sleeves. But we are part and parcel of every place that we live. V'ahavta can be found on page
154.
154.
V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha v'hayu hadavarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'aderech u'shachbecha u'v'kumecha u'shartam na'ot al yodecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha u'v'shartam amezuzot beitecha u'v'sharecha Leman tiskiru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'tem kedoshim le'Elohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim le'yot lachem le'Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem emet. Page 159. If you will all join in with me. Sing the song of men and women joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come, the song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, the song of peace. Mi Chamocha 158.
Kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osei felech, nora tehilot osei felech.
מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקי היום לפני משה. זה אלינו ואמרו, זה אלינו ואמרו.
Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני,
Mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osei felech, nora tehilot osei felech.
נורא תהילות אוסף אליהם.
One of the things I love about the Friday night service is that there are vistas and valleys, there are ebbs and flows of the range of emotion that we might feel when we are connecting and communing and praying. Hashkivenu is our next prayer. It's on page 160. And this is our prayer which recognizes that gratitude is certainly a part of who we are, and joy and happiness, but there's also some things that are very concerning and scary. The proverbial dark, life is not all rainbows and unicorns. The translation, grant, O God, that we lie down in peace together with me and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem.
Hashkivenu Adonai,
Eloheinu leshalom,
v'hamidenu shomrei, nu
lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomrei, nu lechaim.
Hashkivenu
Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomrei, nu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomrei, nu lechaim. Ushmor tzetzeinu, uvoeinu, lechaim ushalom, me'ata v'ad olam. Here's our part. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomrei, nu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomrei, nu lechaim. Beautiful. Page 163 at the top. We join together. We are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time. Vashamru 162.
ושמרו בני ישראל
את השבת, את
השבת, לעשות את השבת, לדושם ברית עולם,
ברית עולם.
ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, את השבת.
לעשות את השבת לדורותם, ברית עולם, ברית עולם.
Each lesson from Torah is meant to be applied to our society and taken as profoundly personal. We tell these stories to one another again and again because they help us to see clearly what's happening in our lives and in the world around us. This week's Torah portion, Shalach Lecha, which is from Numbers, translates as send yourself onward, or possibly as an intriguing reflexive progress yourself as an imperative, progress yourself. It begins the test that our ancestors faced in the wilderness, that liminal place poised between possibility and danger. After 400 years of slavery and 2 years of desert wandering, we were finally ready to enter the land of Canaan, the promised land, to realize our destiny as a free and moral people. The miles since Egypt had taken us through shadowed valleys of doubt and despair, but also hopeful vistas of success. Finally, after years of trials and tragedy, we were finally ready to become our most true, best selves. So Moses sends 12 scouts to see what our challenges would be, and the reports came back mixed. 10 of the 12 scouts said, "It's too much for us," and proposed to do nothing, to stay in the desert indefinitely. Of course, to do nothing is a choice, and with every choice comes consequence. These scouts were fine with the status quo. It was far from ideal, but they were used to it. Although our scouts saw that the objective was worthwhile, they reported back to the Jewish masses that their enemies were giants, and they broadcast that we were like grasshoppers in their eyes. In other words, to our enemies, we Jews were small and weak, easy to push around, to marginalize, and to forget. Think about that for a moment. We were like grasshoppers in their eyes. The problem, says our rabbinic resource, our rabbis of old, was not that the scouts were like grasshoppers in the eyes of our enemy. The problem was that we began to believe what our enemy thought about us. They saw us as weak. They saw us as less than. And in the Torah narrative, some of us began to believe it. The Israelite collective psyche rationalized it as they are big and we are small. They are many and we are few. Maybe we are like grasshoppers, weak, marginal, unworthy. Maybe wandering around and in this vulnerable state is as good as we can expect or deserve. Only 2 of the scouts, Joshua and Caleb, came back with realistic optimism. In essence, they reported that yes, to conquer the land would be hard, but if we focus on the task, have the courage to stand up for ourselves, and keep God with us, we would be successful. Tragically, at this crossroads in our history, the majority of the Israelites were Jews who saw themselves as no better than grasshoppers, and who thought that they deserved nothing more than what the nations of the world permitted them to have. And so the Israelites, because they were satisfied with wandering, were condemned by their own inaction, in passivity, to wander aimlessly in circles for 40 more years, until everyone in that generation had died out. There are only 2 exceptions to this, Caleb and Joshua, the same 2 scouts who brought back the positive reports. The fact was that a generation of slaves who had left Egypt were so shackled to the narrative that others had fostered on them. They were so conditioned to think poorly of themselves that they missed their chance to take that final step forward. When it counted most, our ancestors in the desert wilderness lacked the courage to stand up for themselves and to honestly question the purported facts that they were being fed. So when the opportunity passed, their only option was to churn in their own dust until a future new generation was emboldened enough to try again. This Shabbat marks 3 of the worst anti-Semitic weeks that we Jews have seen in decades. Weeks where we have witnessed and felt vitriol against us from the professed left that has ranged from beatings to betrayals to condemning silence. And so with Shabbat, the questions posed to us from Shalach Lecha are truly front and center. Are we the generation of Americans and of Jews who have the courage to face our challenges? Or are we the generation who will condemn ourselves to wander the unforgiving sands? Do we have the courage to honestly question what we are being told by the media about who we are and what they say our narrative ought to be? Or will we passively allow the world to happen around us and to us? Will we accept the agenda of movements in our country who now we clearly see are not our allies and do not have our best interests in mind? Or will we call out the hate directed towards us with the same passion that we have defended so many others? Do we see through the eyes of the scouts who saw what lay ahead and chose to do nothing? Or are we Joshua and Caleb, who saw with realism hugely difficult challenges that could be, that had to be, overcome for the sake of safety, sanity, and the generations to come? I am beginning to realize that our country and the soul of this Jewish generation is at a crossroads. The time for passively accepting what others think of us and accepting their narrative of who we are, in my mind, is over. In broad strokes, just as we call on those Jews who lean right to call out anti-Semitism coming from the right, it falls on the Jews who lean left to call out anti-Semitism coming from the left. Just as the political party on the right doesn't get a pass, the political party on the left must be held accountable for what they say and for when they are silent. If we only call out anti-Semitism against those on the other side, but don't do the same with those who we otherwise identify, then we are guilty of a very dangerous hypocrisy. We are guilty of using anti-Semitism to achieve alternate objectives. And we will have come one step closer to accepting how our enemies see us and how they wish us to see ourselves. We are better than that. We are strong. We are resilient. We have pride in asking real questions and speaking truth to power, even when questioning and speaking truth to power is unpopular, even when it's dangerous. We can do better. We can. We must. We rise now, together, as one people from all different backgrounds and affiliations. We rise together as one. As one. The Amidah can be found on page 166. Adonai. Saftai tiftaf. Ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai.
Sfatai titaf. Ufi yagid. Ufi
Yagid tehilatecha. Adonai. Saftai tiftaf. Ufi yagid tehilatecha.
Baruch atah Adonai
Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol v'Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim v'Konei HaKol, V'Zocher Hasdei Avot v'Imahot, U'Mevi Gula Lifnei B'nechem, Leman Shmo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Mashiach u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham v'Ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye Hakol Atah Rav Lechoshia, Morid Hatal, Mechakel Chaim Bechesed, Mechaye Hakol Berachamim Rabim, Mech Noflim Verofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Bal Gevurot, Umidom Elach, Melech Memid, Umechaye, Umatzmeach Yeshua, V'ne'eman L'chayot HaKol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye HaKol. Atah Kadosh v'Shimcha Kadosh, U'Kodoshim b'chol yom v'chulu chasela, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. We continue silently either with the words of your prayer book or the silent prayer contemplation of your heart. When you feel your prayer is complete, feel free to take a seat.
Shalom Rav
Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam.
Shalom Rav
Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam.
Ki ata hu melech adon V'chol hashalom כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. שלום
רב ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב ישראל עמך
תשים לעולם. וטוב בידיך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך.
שלום רב ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב ישראל עמך
תשים לעולם. שלום רב ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם.
It is my pleasure to call up Co-President Edie Disner for announcements.
Thank you, Rabbi Spike. Hi, everybody, and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
This is a very special Shabbat for me. It is the very first Shabbat that I can say I'm co-president of this amazing congregation. Thank you to everybody and to Robert Wittenstein for staying on with me. I'm very grateful. You guys are here for a very special evening as well because we are bringing back the oneg tonight. So you are going to have lots of sweet treats. We're going to do it outside so everybody can enjoy without their masks and feel comfortable. And this week you will get an email if you'd like to help make it special in the future and sign up to either bake or order baked goods or bring fruit or just help get things ready. So I hope that you will help us continue to make a sweet Shabbat. Thank you.
Thanks, Edie. And in case you did not see the note, you no longer have to sign up or register for things that are happening here. Just come. The doors are open. We have room. And we're just so psyched to be here. It's been a long, wackadoo year. So this is the time where I address the folks who are specifically at home, specifically the bar and bat mitzvah kids who are here getting credit for this service. This is where you let us know who you are and what you're grateful for this Shabbat as we enter into our Shehechianu moment, meaning that we think back on our week or what's happening in our life now and bring forth the simchas, the good stuff that we are appreciative of, that helps make life worth living. And if you want to share, we have a microphone, and here, Jonathan, why don't you play Donahue, and you're going to run around with the microphone, okay? And so you just stand up, and you'll let us know your name and what you're looking to do.
Hi, Helene Siegel. We have two grandchildren.
Nice and close, nice and close.
Who were born 4 days apart and graduated from 8th grade at the Epstein School and Peachtree Middle School.
Great, Mazel Tov, and Stuart, I miss your jokes. Okay. Others, just kind of signal to Jonathan that you have got something to share.
John Laszlo, my biggest week since the pandemic. I turned 90.
Wow, John.
Had a nice birthday luncheon with my former colleagues from the Cancer Society and had my first trip out of my cocoon to see one of my children and her family in Maryland.
That's great, John.
Great.
Mazel Tov. Others, Simcha to share. Simcha to share.
I'm Melanie White. I'm here with my children. Well, two of them are here. One's outside with my other grandson, and my grandson who's here, and my daughter-in-law who's pregnant with my third grandson.
Hey, that's great. Glad to have you all here.
Thank you.
Others, Simcha, something that you're celebrating, something you like to share. Okay, Paula.
Shabbat Shalom, Paula
Shabbat
Fine. Oh. Haven't done this in a while. Okay. The Torah portion is called
Shalach Lecha.
Shalach Lecha. It was my son's Torah portion when he was 13, and he just turned 24 a few days ago.
Great.
So
Let's
when
get Ari back here to chant it.
I know, he's in Nashville, so it really brought back a lot of memories. Thank you so much.
Great. Pleasure, pleasure. Artie, anything to share?
My daughter Ariel and her husband Max celebrated their anniversary last week.
Great. That's wonderful. Thanks, Jonathan. And I guess what I'll share is I've been spending some time over at the Sandy Springs Police Department, where I'm one of the 2 chaplains for the police department, and Temple Emanu-El bought the Sandy Springs Police Department lunch today. So mazel tov to everybody on a good lunch as a sign of our appreciation for them and the good work that they do. So friends, what we Jews do when we know that we are experiencing a certain type of time, elevated time, is we pray our Shehechianu prayer. Literally, thank you, God, for allowing us to be here together, breathing together. May we have this type of connection and experience in holiness again and again and again. Please join us, Shehechianu. Page 648.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh.
So we are getting ready to say our Misha Barach prayer. The Misha Barach prayer is the prayer that we say when we Jews are asking for a healing, a refuah shlema for somebody in our lives. And it could be you, a healing of mind, of body, of soul, of relationship. The congregation asks for a refuah shlema for Brett Samsky, Meir Ben Rachmael Vadina, Ina Slutsky, Norman Cohen, Howard Silverstein, Andy Rush, Yetta Bat Yosef, Lev and Miriam, Steve Backman, Tara Cutler, William Friedman, Lisa Solinik, Hannah Hazen, Ken Schiffer, Howard Ackerman, Ludmila Coven, Beth Felster, Stan Schwartz. If you are online and have a name that you'd like to add, please either say it out loud or add it to the Facebook feed. And for those folks who are here, please feel free to say a name for Misha Barach either in your hearts or out loud. My eyes meet yours. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, as is the Minhag Hamakom, if you would stand, and if you are sitting next to somebody in your pod, put your arms around them. If you have nobody in your pod, feel your proverbial, my arms around you. Moses, you want to come up here and be with me? Okay. Misha Barach is on page 371. Anybody?
Misha Barach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu mikor habracha le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Refuah Shlema. Please remain standing for Kiddush, page 123. If you're at home and you have that special Kiddush cup, take it on out. Fill it with the fruit of the vine, grape juice or wine. Together, we raise them up.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho v'yahava uvratzon hinkilanu, zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila l'mikorei kodesh, zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim, ki vanu v'acharta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, ve'ava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mikadesh haShabbat. Amen.
L'chaim lebracha, to life with blessings. Aleinu can be found on page 586.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'Adon hakol, latek gidula yotzer reshit, shelo asanu k'goyei haratzot, velo chamanu k'mishpachot adama, shelo sam helkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu k'chol hamona, v'anachnu korim, Uv'ishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech malchei hamachim hakadosh baruch hu, v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz. Bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad.
Please be seated. So traditionally, we end with Kaddish Tome, the Mourner's Kaddish, which you'll find on page 598. And when we say the names of those who meant so much to us, everything to us, when we say those names as part of the service, we actually elevate the time and bring with their names memory flooding right to us. And according to the tradition, allow them to have what's called an aliyat hanefesh, an ascent of soul. We acknowledge and send condolences to the families of Mark Wilcox and Linda Cohen Calger, who are in the Shloshim period of mourning. Yard sites this Shabbat for Jerry Diamond, Manfred Alter, Joseph Amender, Sarah Goldstein Anton, Fanette Backman, Bernard Bigg, Suzanne Shapiro, Bernice Braun, Harold Braunstein, Sydney Karasik, Kiki Cohen, Rella Eisen, Pauline Friedman, Adrian Fisher, Howard Gold, Ronnie Goodelman, Harry Goodelman, Etta Hansman, Morris Kaplan, Charles Loeb, Simon Mendel, William Miller, Simon Parnas, Beatrice Schaefer, Joseph Siegel, Emmanuel Slade, Isabel Sommerstein, Sylvia Spiegel, Howard Stark, Lester Weinstein, Irene Walensky. If you are in the Shloshim period of mourning, the first 30 days after a loved one's passing, we ask you to rise now, whether you're in the sanctuary or at home. Please rise and remain standing so we can recognize you. If you're in the first year of mourning a loved one's passing, we would ask that you rise now so that you can be recognized. If you are commemorating the yard site, the death anniversary of a loved one's passing this Shabbat, we ask you now to rise now so you can be recognized. And if it is your custom to rise either in solidarity or for those who have no one to say Kaddish for them, we ask you to do so now. Mourner's Kaddish on page 598. Yit Gadav, Yit Kadash, Me Rabbah. Be'alma divrach yirotei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon av yomechon u'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael b'galav v'zman kariv v'imru amen Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olamei almaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitraman v'yitnaseh Vita dar, vita le, vita la, shmei dukutsha, berichu, la eila min kol birchata v'shirata, tush b'charta v'nechamata, dami ram bi'alma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shamaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Osei shalom b'imrumav, huya aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen.
Oseh
Shalom bimroma hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'akol Yisrael v'imeru amen. Oseh shalom bimroma hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'akol Yisrael v'imeru amen. Oseh shalom bimroma hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'akol Yisrael v'imeru amen. Oseh shalom bimroma hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'akol Yisrael v'imeru amen. Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.